Hello, my name is David Byrne, and this is my final evaluation to sum up my last 2 years on the media course. So, coming into level 3 media, I didn't really know a lot. I had like a basic understanding of like what it was going to be like and the whole media aspect of it, but coming in and being completely reliant on yourself, making different projects, I feel like it really brought the best out of me in the way that I worked. And especially with stuff like editing, I had no idea how to do it. And over the last 2 years, I've really developed my media skills, and I feel like I'm at such a better place from when I first came in the way that I'm able to have an idea and really like turn it into something else. And especially when applying this to my FMP, I feel like each project taught me a certain amount of skills that I would need to eventually then be able to sit back and completely by myself create a project from the ground up. So with stuff like podcasts and adverts and short films, I feel like there's a lot of technical stuff that goes into making all these different kinds of mediums, and I feel like over the last 2 years I've really taken in. I feel like, say I was watching a film now, I could really think about it and take it apart, and I just feel like that's such like ingrained in my head that I wouldn't be able to. It's almost like I can't watch stuff the same again without going into it, taking it apart, thinking, oh, I wonder how that was filmed, I wonder how they created that effect. More into creating my FMP, I feel like the process I undertook when starting this was really starting again with the basic research into different kinds of mediums. We actually started off doing a lot of mind maps to help us narrow down what kind of thing we wanted to do, and I kind of rounded it off to two options. They were a podcast and an advert, but I feel like picking the podcast was really limiting myself with what I could create. So I was always veering more towards an advert, which is then what I eventually created. I feel like this better helped to develop my skills, especially like with editing wise and filming wise. Those kind of skills were lacking, I want to say, because especially one of the problems I encountered when creating my FMP was a lot of the filming process, because I feel like after we came back from lockdown, I really hadn't been using any kind of equipment for a while, so a lot of the stuff I was just making basic mistakes. Like a lot of stuff was out of focus, and I did have to reshoot a lot of my footage 2 or 3 times. I'd say that I've developed as kind of a young creative in the way that now I'm able to create projects in a way that I couldn't maybe in the first year, because I feel like the first year was very group based and always relying on someone else, but in the second year has really helped me develop as an individual and made me a lot more independent when it comes to my work. Like I have to set deadlines for myself, I have to be at a certain point in a certain amount of weeks, and one really helpful way of doing that is creating like a time schedule for when you want to do certain stuff. It really takes a lot of pressure off your plate when coming to like say filming or editing. If you know you've given yourself a week time slot, then you know you have to be done by then. Challenging wise, I feel like obviously I touched on it before, filming for me was, it kind of hit me in the face a bit because I didn't expect it to be as challenging as it was, especially when it comes to reshooting footage. I feel like I needed to be a bit more better prepared for that. I just said to myself when I was going to be filming, I wrote it down, but then I didn't really put a lot of planning into it. Like I had a shot list, I did a storyboard, but I really feel like they could have been more developed to help the filming process go more smoothly. So if I had to change anything, I would have definitely spent a lot more time on that. Moving on from that, my initial idea was just an advert on a drink, and I feel like that really developed and came a long way. Like the basic idea, my idea really developed in the way that I planned a narrative, I needed actors. I had a whole location thought about in the way that I wanted my project to come together. So I feel like after doing a rough shoot of my advert, seeing that and then now seeing the final piece, it really brought, like, it was satisfying to see that how much of a leap I'd made from where I first started to what I've got now. And I feel like that just shows how much, like, time and effort you can put into a project just to make it even slightly better. Thinking for the future, media wise, I'm not sure that I feel like obviously in the real world it would be a lot harder to be within the media industry, because I did originally want an apprenticeship, but now I'm considering whether or not that's the right path for me. So I feel like I always have these skills and I've learned a lot in the past 2 years, and I feel like when I need them, like, I'll always have the kind of abilities and skills that I've learned here. But so far I'm not sure whether being within the media industry is right for me, but it's certainly a thing to consider. So thanks for listening. That has been my audio evaluation for the summary of my past 2 years and my FMP.